The Lonely Road. Chapter 1. Shadows Along the Way. I'd always been drawn to adventure, the open road calling me like an old friend beckoning me closer. This solo journey was meant to be a time for reflection, a chance to recharge after months of non-stop school and part-time job schedules. My trusty old car, Bertha, carried me through the winding countryside as I navigated along Route 17, the last remnants of daylight fading with each passing milepost. A wrong turn somewhere between miles 20.5 and 30 had led me further off the beaten path than expected. The GPS had long since given up on providing any meaningful directions, leaving only the occasional faded roadside signs as my guide. As dusk crept in, casting long shadows across the deserted highway, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that I was being watched. The sky transformed into a canvas of deep blues and purples, painted with streaks of neon orange where clouds kissed the horizon. Night descended upon me suddenly, shrouded by dense foliage on either side. The engine roared as I navigated the increasingly narrow road, Bertha's tires crunching over gravel and leaves that crunched beneath us. My breath caught in my throat when I spotted him, an old man standing just beyond a gnarled oak tree, his silhouette barely visible in the fading light. He didn't seem to move or react despite my slowing down. As I passed, catching only a glimpse of gray hair and aged features, my heart raced with curiosity. The road forked ahead. To the left it continued, narrower still, while the main path dwindled into darkness. Instinct led me toward the less traveled route. Minutes ticked by, each mile feeling like an eternity as I wove through the dense forest. Shadows danced along the roadside, a trick of the light, or so I told myself. Whispers on the wind were merely the rustling leaves. That's what I kept saying until they morphed into distinct words. Turn back. Turning up the volume on my radio offered little solace as distant moans echoed from the forest, sending shivers down my spine. A chill crept across Bertha's dashboard as an icy breeze swept in through the open window. Symbols etched on a trees appeared, arcane markings that seemed to pulse in the fading light. Their meaning escaped me, but there was something unsettling about them, something otherworldly. Rustling leaves and snapping twigs accompanied my every step as I stepped out to investigate, each step further into darkness. My skin pricked with unease, sensing unseen eyes upon me. Returning to Bertha's driver's seat, I let the car drift back onto the narrow path. The engine sputtered momentarily before growling to life once more, leaving behind a trail of dust as we wound through dense undergrowth. Eventually, the road spat us out into an open clearing, a small motel nestled at its center. Neon signs creaking in the gentle breeze. Sooty Mountain Inn, the faded sign read. In the stillness, it felt like an illusion, a mirage born of exhaustion. I pulled into one of the lot's few parking spots and shut off Bertha's engine, the sudden quiet deafening. Shadows flickered at my window. I blinked twice. The old man again, standing by the door, observing me with sunken eyes under a fedora. His presence vanished before I could wave or shout for help. A bell above the door jangled, announcing my arrival as I stepped into Sooty Mountain's lobby. Dust swirled in the dim light filtering through grimy windows. Behind the desk sat an elderly man, his gaze heavy with secrets. "Room 13, he rasped, handing over a key. "You're lucky it was available." His voice was like sandpaper on my nerves. The room felt hollow, air thick with years of neglect. A single bed and stained curtains framed by heavy drapes were the extent of furnishings. As night fell, Unexplained creaks echoed from the walls, as if I wasn't alone in this place. In sleeplessness, nightmares unfolded. The old man's face, eyes black as coal, symbols etched into my arm, an unseen force watching me through Bertha's rear window. Morning broke with a pale sun and a strange discovery. Objects littered our trunk. A journal penned by someone called Evelyn. Photographs of an abandoned house in the woods nearby. A small key buried beneath a newspaper clipping about a girl named Lily who vanished decades ago. My heart hammered out a frantic rhythm as I read of unexplained events surrounding that very house. Windows shattering, whispers at night, and dark silhouettes lurking outside. I left Sooty Mountain with the journal, following directions Evelyn provided. As I approached the abandoned house, a sense of dread mounted with each step on the overgrown path. Shadows danced across my vision as I entered through a gaping doorway. A musty stench hung in the air, mingling with something sweetly metallic. Blood? In the main room, photographs adorned the walls. Lily's smiling face stared back, her laughter echoing, only to be replaced by an unsettling silence. Footsteps crunched behind me. Heart pounding, I whirled around, but no one was there. Unnerving shadows moved at the periphery of my vision. In the kitchen, a note clutched in my shaking hand. Get out while you still can. As night deepened, sleep eluded me. A car's tires on the gravel driveway heralded dawn. Chapter 2. Echoes at Dusk. Dawn's warmth crept through the grimy windows of the abandoned house. My hands trembled as I placed Evelyn's journal back in Bertha's trunk and turned her over. The engine roared to life, eager for freedom from this place. A skittering noise behind me propelled me around. A creature? I faced an empty room, but then noticed the figure at the window, tattered curtains parting slightly as if someone watched me leave. My skin crawled beneath my shirt. In the rearview mirror, it stood still, features obscured by shadows. Hello? I called out futilely, accelerating away from the house and its unsettling history. The road unwound before me like a twisted ribbon until darkness swallowed us whole once more. Strange lights flickered around Bertha's roof, pulling my gaze upward. An airplane, yet there were no stars in the sky. Moonlight cast eerie shadows on both sides as I rounded a bend. The strange glow persisted behind me, drawing closer with every mile. My breath caught as the lights coalesced into the unmistakable form of an old sedan following us. Headlights flashed once, twice, a signal for me to stop. Inching Bertha toward it, unease warred with curiosity. The sedan's door creaked open and an aged man emerged, hunched over like a crone from a fairy tale. "You shouldn't be here," he hissed, his eyes sunken. Then he spoke. Not at night. In the silence that followed, a childlike whisper pierced the darkness. "Help us." The elderly man departed as I reached my destination. An old stone cottage buried among trees. Its weathered door groaned open, allowing me entry into a world of whispers and cries from within its walls. A young girl's bedroom held Lily's framed photo on the nightstand. Her eyes stared at me as if she knew a secret. In a moment of madness, I took the frame. It clutched my hand like cold fingers. I returned home to find it lying on the bed. Back in the cottage, a key was now in my pocket. Whispered pleas still lingered when dawn clawed its way in, demanding I face whatever lay within. The cottage's door hung ajar, inviting me into Lily's room. "What do you want?" My voice echoed into the hollow space. A reply came from deeper inside. "We want out." Lily's laughter rang out, followed by an unmistakable mama, and then weeping, as if she were calling for help. The front door closed of its own accord when I stepped back, inviting me in. In the kitchen, a small chest sat atop a scarred table, adorned with Evelyn's name. Lily was my mother. Within lay her diaries and that of an Evelyn, detailing the house's cursed history and the little girl who could hear whispers. "Get us out," they implored through pages stained with blood. Hours passed. The cottage door slammed open again, revealing a small, weeping form. It took a moment to register. Lily, no more than 6 years old. Her laughter turned to wails before she spoke in my voice. "Help me." My car screeched over gravel. In the distance, an unseen force propelled us toward freedom. The cottage door slammed shut, leaving me on the edge of night and daybreak. Chapter 3. The Last Turn. Evelyn's house beckoned like a siren as I fled with Lily in tow. Strange markings adorned her face. Symbols from the journal. Evelyn's diary spoke of my connection to these girls, something ancient passing through us. A bloodthirsty entity had taken over her life, and perhaps mine now too. The car bucked violently, throwing Lily against me as it swerved. The old man appeared in the driver's seat, a scalpel glinting in his hand. I'd almost reached for him when Bertha lurched hard left. We were airborne, plummeting toward an unseen abyss. In that moment of weightlessness, a girl's giggles filled my ears. Lily had taken control of our fate. Thud after thud sounded from below. The old man's corpse greeted me upon inspection. At the bottom, Lily clung to my chest, whimpering. A narrow cavern opened into an abyss, revealing a rickety bridge spanning something vast and dark. I glanced up. That was not a cavern. "You see it," she whispered as the wooden slats shuddered beneath our weight. Below us, water bubbled and churned far, far down, casting macabre silhouettes on the walls. Lily's grip tightened. Evelyn's secrets clawed at my mind. The journal spoke of ancient bloodlines, a curse passed through generations, as if I was something more than human. In this abyss, Lily clung to me tightly as we descended further into madness and water alike.